Mm, mm, mm. Welcome to Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring and also drink sweet ambrosia. Goddamn, that's a good cup of coffee. This is the first cup of coffee I've had all day at noon Eastern, despite being up until 3 a.m. last night playing a gig in the cold where there was frost on all my gear.
What the hell?
Everything seems to be okay, but yeah.
Were you up north?
Uxbridge. So
Oh, that's
north-ish.
gross.
Yeah, there was some frost. It was fun.
Did they
I was
pay
dressed
you
as a
well?
nun.
Oh, that's
It's a
fun.
good time.
Did you have photos?
I got some video somewhere.
Will you post them to the internet?
Yes. Yeah. I'll
Please
post
do.
a little bit. Post a little bit. To Tim Stone P, TIMBSTONEP, Instagram.
There you go. Go get it.
Probably not on Twitter because we'll see. Maybe on Twitter.
You should do it on Twitter. Why not? What's the worst that can happen?
No one follows me on either, so
you're probably better off in some ways. I've scaled back my internet.
I block a lot of people proactively. That's been a discourse this week, whether or not it's okay to block people preemptively.
Seriously?
You're a dick to other people. I just block you. I don't want to deal with you ever. Like
I use that block button liberally.
Yeah,
there was a time where I didn't. Like I'll be honest, I was just like, I want people to like me, and then I was just like, nah, some people are dicks, and I don't want to like them back. So like, let's just block. There are certain threads where like, so a good example is like I've said this before openly. Like I sometimes really dislike it when Sean will like quote tweet people and dunk on them, and it just fills up my timeline. And like Sean stopped doing that, but like sometimes he'll do it again. Anyway, when he did it a lot, I would go into the initial tweet and just like go through the bad faith comments, just block.
Yep.
Like if this guy's got a problem, I don't want to deal with him. A problem with if it's personal attacks. If someone has a problem with like the way that someone maybe like does their job and it's not a personal, they're just like, I disagree with how he
if it's
breaks stories
and like sane, sure,
I'll take that all day. But like if someone's gonna be like, man, this guy's a little dark and I hate his guts, it's like, well, guess what, you are a weird human being, so I'm just gonna block you.
Yep.
Easy peasy.
Good afternoon, Dan. He wrote FOBs, and I understand what it means now, but at first I was like, Fallout Boys?
Is it not Fallout Boys?
It's Fightful Overbooked, I assume.
Oh,
it took a shamefully long time for me to put that together, though.
Well, be fobs with us and subscribe to Fightful Overbooked here at youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked. Maybe leave a comment. Hello, chat. I see you. How you doing? It's good to see you. Hope you're having a nice, wonderful Sunday. And toss a thumbs up on this video because guess what? Gets us seeing with your friends, and your friends with seeing us, and then doing all the things that a friend should do and need. And also, if you need to support us, you can donate a super chat here at youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. It is that $sign over at the bottom of the chat screen, and we greatly appreciate it because it helps us immensely. Just like joining our Discord, there's a link in the description of the video. Don't tell Sean Ross Sapp it exists because he will not believe you anyway. All right, it was the shame that willed it. I get it. I really do. And we're on Facebook today because why not? We can do that. So we're going to be on the Fightful Facebook page.
As long as it still exists.
It does. It does. As long as meta is still a thing, we will be here. We got a lot to talk about, but do we? I mean,
it was a
weird
weird
how did wrestling this week? Yeah, how was wrestling?
I don't know. I had a strange kind of relationship with it. I enjoyed SmackDown.
I think most people did.
Like end of list of what I like really thoroughly enjoyed. Dynamite had moments. Again, the in-ring now is consistent, but the stories are I don't even know how to feel about it. We can dive into it. I watched Raw, but it feels like a distant fever dream.
There's not much from Raw that I really want to talk about because it just wasn't a good episode of Raw. And like, we're trying to be a little more positive and clown on certain things. Like we can look through the results and be like, was there anything worthwhile? And I'm sure there was, but I do have to bring this up this morning. I don't know if you saw, they announced Pro Wrestling Noah on New Year's Day. They're going to run Great Muta versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And first thing that came to my mind was like, I hope Shinsuke comes back as like full crazy ass Japanese like rock star Shinsuke, and he's like he cosplays as Muta and calls himself Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, that would be delightful. My first thought was, I mean, they don't know what to do with Shinsuke, so there you go.
He's
Let
like
him go
under
do whatever he
hire.
wants. Yeah,
He
exactly.
shows up on NXT as like Tony D's guy that he paid off to beat the shit out of his protege, and then they bring him on SmackDown as one of the members of Hit Row.
Which was like, I was a little bit looking forward to that, and I was like, oh, okay.
No, it's just Shinsuke wrestling with Hit Row,
Like,
which
sure, shove him in the
yeah.
Toyota ad, shove him in the Hit Row, whatever you need to shove Shinsuke in.
Those Toyota truck ads though with Boogs, those were like A+. I loved
Funny.
those. I think we both talked very highly.
Yeah. Very highly regarded by us.
Yeah, that's all that matters really,
Yeah.
because for a frame, people were really looking at us for WWE storyline booking ideas, for better or worse.
Yeah. For quite a while.
Anyway, what the hell happened on Raw? Was there anything really worthwhile? Judgment
The
Day
Miz
opens up the
stuff.
show again. The Miz stuff was okay. Miz stuff is still pretty funny in some
Mhm.
ways. Oh, Anderson and Balor was a really good match.
Yes,
In
great
ring,
match. And you know what? I loved that opening. I loved it. I loved Dom being such an insufferable sack of crap. The Eddie Guerrero stuff was hilarious to me. I thought that was a tremendous way to build heat for such an awful, awful young man. It was. I thought that was exactly what they need to do with Dominic. Keep
Yeah.
doing this. Like, keep making it. Like, keep just salting the wound of how he's not very good. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff coming out of this Dominic Mysterio
Yeah.
turn, and they're putting the lights on him. And I know that people are not huge into the Dominic Mysterio thing.
Oh, he's
but
bad in the ring, but that's it helps this character. Like, and it
yeah,
doesn't mean he can't improve over time. He's on TV whether you like it or not. And
and
like,
and these are the right people to stick with him because they're
yes.
younger but very experienced. Like Punishment Martinez, aka Damian Priest, has been
Yeah.
around for years and years on the circuit, right? Same thing with Finn Balor, right?
And
These guys are both 40 and they've both been wrestling for like 20 plus years.
Yeah, and Finn Balor is also acting as like a really strong foil for him, as also a like out of touch dork. Like, he like the Judgment Day has slowly like developed a personality kind of
Yes.
naturally, right? Like, and that personality is like these people who think they're really cool and dark and brooding, but absolutely are not. And they're leaning into that, and I really like it because I think that like they found a game in it, just kind of naturally, rather than trying to force this like edgy brooding nonsense. So like,
And they're kind of trolling, which I'm
yes,
fine with.
they are trolls, which again suits Rio with like the like troll face kind of look. So it's working really well, I think.
Balor pins Carl Anderson, and like they're saying in the
After
chat,
a great match.
Yeah, and a great match, and like they're saying in the chat, like sleepy show until Crown Jewel, Sansa time, whatever you want to call it. They really are just killing time, and it's very apparent. I'm hoping that as the Triple H regime kind of figures itself out, they kind of figure out a way that when these Saudi shows come up, they find ways to like make it a little more cohesive instead of making up these stupid like last minute stories. Like they added Bailey versus Bianca for that Crown Jewel show, and it's just they realized we don't have enough matches. They realized they don't have a women's match. They got to do something. It just feels a little thrown together, and I don't
Big
love
time. Yeah. So I don't know. They'll maybe figure it out going forward, right? Like we're still less than a like, not how are we're through one quarter now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It's probably the worst Triple H led Raw since he took over. And
yeah, and it's been slagging a little bit. Like Raw has been the weaker show for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, the Monday Night Football effect or something. Who knows?
Sure.
Yeah, Miz and R-Truth. R-Truth has shown up twice this week on WWE programming. Very funny. I'm all for it. There's nothing more I can add to that other than just keep putting R-Truth on my screen and I will continue to enjoy it.
You gotta win.
Nah. NXT champion R-Truth.
Oh man.
What else is going on? So they do okay. So there's a lot of Gargano on the show this past week.
Yeah.
And they do a really cool thing where like Candice LeRae gets beat down, and then Johnny's doing his thing, yada yada yada. And typically, like these storylines would never meet, but for some reason, they had Johnny like go check on Candice, and it became a legitimate like storyline where they kind of intersect and they can interact with each other. Because once upon a time, like you go backstage to WWE, it's its own universe, it's its own like random space where the only thing that exists is like the interviewer in that moment in the one space. I'm a big fan of them intertwining and making it like a workplace drama, because guess what? this is the workplace, and it includes the backstage.
No, and I think that's actually really reflective of kind of where pro wrestling in general is right now, because like there's so much internet chatter and stuff, and it's been that way for like a very long time now, to the point that it's just undeniable. So having them reference that, like they mentioned R-Truth and Miz actually being a tag team, and that's another thing that like sometimes they would just ignore that stuff for no reason. And then you see it on AEW too, like where Renee's out there interviewing MJF and he's mocking Moxley, and she's, you know, reacting as a professional, but as a professional with a personal connection to the person being mocked. Like it feels a little bit more genuine, and it's like I don't know that it's a tale of good or bad with that. I think it's just in this case, it really like it's unavoidable. You have to kind of tie this in because of how invested people are in the meta story outside of it. So
Omos takes on 4 guys. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because next week on SmackDown, spoiler alert, Braun's taking on 5
4
guys. And I'm
not 5 guys.
5 guys.
5 guys.
And I'm not talking about the burger chain.
No. He's just going to sit down in the middle of the ring, and eat way too many expensive foods. Like so that's all it's going to be.
For some reason, I've fallen down this YouTube rabbit hole where I'm watching Beard Meets Food, and he's a UK competitive eater who's quite popular, apparently. Yeah. I don't know why I've started doing it. And the worst thing is that it keeps happening whenever I'm like eating a meal at my desk. Suddenly I'm watching this guy devour like
competitive eating while eating.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, he does these food challenges and it's competitive eating, but it's not like a line of people competitive eating. It's just him sitting at a table eating food. I'm not into the mukbang thing. I'm not into like the weird.
You sure? I don't know.
I'm not, because there's some weird people out there. But the point is, like, I'm watching this and I'm just like, okay, could I do this? I couldn't do any of these food challenges. No. Anyway, the point is, I want Braun to smash a 5 guys like spread now.
Yeah. Do it up. He talked about eating like 11 eggs. So
is 11 eggs really that much?
No, I could definitely eat 11 eggs easily. like if they weren't even whole eggs, it was like 4 yolks, and then yeah.
Someone's asking about NXT. Sometimes we talked about NXT last week. We talk about the stuff we like. If you don't like it, get out of here. Hit the bricks. Elias beats Chad Gable for some reason. The Elias story is weird. They brought him back. They told him, hey, go grow your beard back and come back.
Yeah, it feels like, I don't know, like some of the Triple H stuff, I'll tell you right now, feels just like this weird, like schmarmy make good. He's like, we're undoing it. And it's like, I don't know. I didn't really hate the Ezekiel thing. I thought it was funny.
I loved the Ezekiel.
It was not that bad as much as everyone wants to say. It was horrendous. It was kind of funny. Like
chicken salad, chicken shit, man. It was great.
Yeah. Anyway, like happy to have Elias back. I just like, you know, he never had a story under Vince. Maybe give him a story. Try doing that as a make good. Like
they did what else did they do? They did Corbin versus Gargano. We talked about the whole Gargano stuff. Again, the JBL thing.
Yeah, it's a shame that he's back on my TV. I don't really care for JBL at all.
I don't need like, oh, back in the Attitude Era. It's like, buddy, in the Attitude Era, you were a bit player. Like you were the Undertaker's bitch.
Yeah, and he was way better. Like I liked him when he was just a beer swilling dipshit who never talked. Like,
I didn't hate the JBL character in like 2004 when he was on top of SmackDown.
Yeah.
I thought like the stuff he did with Eddie Guerrero was phenomenal. There was some really good storytelling, and of course, you know, or a different time. Everything like, listen, I get it, and it's true. That being said, the stuff that he's doing now, he's just rehashing things that he thinks is heat, and he's sitting at the announce table. That's the worst part.
Oh yeah, I didn't need him back there.
Oh God, hey Shamrock, and it's like, why do we have to be here? I just want, if JBL is going to speak for Baron Corbin, do it in the ring, do it backstage, and for God's sake, give him some bullet points. Just stop being like, I'm a heel on the local sports team, because it ain't
bullet points and a Taylor. Okay, that's enough of that.
Taylor. And then Bianca Bailey had a really good match. Bailey gets the win, but not before Nikki Cross made her return as Nikki Cross and not as Nikki ASH. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was good
all
stuff.
Unhinged.
All unhinged. Well, that was fun. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with her. I don't know what they're gonna do with Nikki Cross, but they're gonna do Nikki and Bianca on Raw tomorrow night. No, you got nothing there.
I don't know what they're gonna do with her. Like that's the thing. Raw seems still kind of aimless. Like especially, it's just these Saudi shows, man. Like they don't know what they're doing. It's just it's floating.
There's a really interesting moment. Well, first of all, I thought that the reveal of Nikki Cross was a little silly, where it was like they did all the stuff at the announce table. The announce table's been broken. They clearly can't be watching monitors, so they have to be looking at what's going on in the ring. They know it's Nikki Cross, but they're not drawing attention to it. The announcers aren't. They're just it's like it's right in front of them. You can just say, "I think that's Nikki Cross," and then when you see her face, it is.
Yeah.
Instead, they stuck to the script, which whatever. Again, that's very nitpicky, but that's just little things where I'm like, you could have just called it on the fly. What I did like was when they said it's Nikki. Kevin Patrick was like, "What's gotten into Nikki?" Because he's never experienced this Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
Whereas Graves is like, "I have, and it's going to be a big problem for everyone." And I like that. Again, there's little callbacks. It's giving the viewers something to stand behind. It's rewarding the viewers for watching. So especially NXT, and I really enjoyed that because Graves has experience with Sanity Nikki Cross, the crazy ass Nikki Cross, whereas Kevin Patrick, no idea.
No, yeah, it's good. It's nice that they have that little world that they can fall back. Again, like you need to dive into the breadth of your program. Like you should be able to draw on things. It makes writing easier when you do things like this. Like it makes putting together a compelling show so much easier when you just draw on what came before. Thank you, Dan, for getting the Fightful article, which is like I don't read a lot of wrestling news. This I read.
I feel like I could eat this.
I could eat that. I can tell you right now, I could absolutely eat that with ease and still probably have a little bit more after.
10 eggs, only 4 yolks, 2 grilled chicken breasts, a double order of hash browns, smothered covered in chunks, and an orange juice and a coffee. That's got to be a Waffle House order. Smothered covered. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like
that's not bad at all. All right. Put yourself to the test in the ring, Braun Strowman. You said you don't mind big challenges. Order too much Five Guys.
The problem is it's already been taped, so I think it's happening. Do it in Saudi Arabia. Go to Five Guys Saudi Arabia and just eat it in the ring after you beat Omos.
Oh, God, I don't even know what that is.
You don't want to know.
They don't have Five Guys.
Do we want to stick with WWE or do you want to go with AEW stuff?
Let's do it chronologically. Let's jump over to Dynamite. We might not give them enough love if we don't do it right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I understand that sometimes we get into a rut where we talk more about WWE just because of like some stuff that's going on.
Shows because Rampage doesn't count given like, and if you look at this week's Rampage, boy, does that tell you how little it matters.
They did a lot. That's true. Mod Mike saying he's never been to Five Guys. Well, now I'm just upset.
I've also never been to Five Guys because I looked at the price and I was like, wow, I can make that, but much better in my own house.
So okay, yes, but at the same time, like Five Guys is pretty delicious if you're in the mood for it.
That's nice. Burgers shouldn't cost that much.
Whatever. When I move to my new place, we'll find a Five Guys. I know that there's one like a 20-minute walk.
You find me a buy one get one coupon and maybe
no way. They never do that shit.
See, because they're terrible.
It's Five Guys because you got to bring 5 guys over there to get any sort of deal. My place is in a giant, like if you guys saw how my room actually looked, like this office space, if you saw how it looked beyond the camera, y'all would be like calling hoarders on me. It's disgusting.
Oh yeah, I'm in the same boat. I got bags of gear surrounding me right now.
I got 7 suitcases all empty, ready to be packed. I've got my
you're moving. This is just how I live.
Yeah, no, I'm like packing up to move, and like there's shit everywhere. The floors are awful. It's so bad. Oh god.
Awesome.
Five Guys they do allow you to order ahead. You just have to like do the app thing and do pickup.
Maybe his Five Guys is just run by 5 dick guys.
Five douches. Anyway, let's talk about Dynamite. Where do we open up? We opened up with Jericho and Garcia versus Claudio and Yuta. Okay, let's just get right to the crux of it. Dynamite continues to have really, really good in-ring matches.
Phenomenal matches, yeah.
Storytelling in the ring works really well. Yes. You let the wrestlers do the wrestling. Guess what? It works out with wrestlers. Unfortunately, and we're going to talk about it, some of the storytelling with words isn't as captivating.
I find it very boring and or like it's just we're getting a lot of 1 week builds. This Jericho versus like the JS versus Blackpool Combat Club story is their main story aside from MJF right now. And it's not very interesting at all. Cause like, I don't know why these guys hate each other. Like I don't like, cause they're pro wrestlers, but they're not, they're like like a combat club. Like I don't know. I'm not really getting what the major issue is, other than Daniel Garcia being like the puppy in between them, and I never found that all that interesting. Like I'm just not. I can't buy into it, and I don't know what it is. I don't believe Yuta is angry ever, so it's a shame that they're making him have to slap Bryan Danielson around, because it's just doesn't. It's not working. You like that?
I like Yuta showing some fire because he's the young guy, and he was the one who had to fight his way into Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and
one that they did. I don't want to say they didn't want, but like they didn't specifically target. Whereas like Lee Moriarty was one of them, Daniel Garcia was one of them, and now we're starting to see some of that come back into play. I like that.
I think it would be good. Like the idea itself is good. I just didn't like. I don't like the execution, because I'm not convinced by it. Like I just, and again, it's just half the work is being done by Regal on commentary, and it's the same story every single week. Like there's no new beat to this. Jericho lost, I guess. That's the revelation from this week. Drawing on the bat was weird, because it was like, okay, yeah, but no one used it, and that's not even interesting. Like,
it's a very weird situation with AEW, just because they're sometimes really good at like setting up the beginning of the story, and then they get really jumbled and lost.
Yeah,
going
that's exactly what happens. Yeah,
and I think that's and sometimes that is a problem dealing with, say, injuries or just availability, and I get it, that's fine, but like there's got to be a better pivot for some of these things. Like Blood and Guts, for example. When we got to Blood and Guts, things are so messy that we had Jericho Appreciation Society versus BCC and Eddie, and
we haven't left that. Like it's still going on. And like, yeah, you mentioned that, and I was just like, oh, this feels like Blood and Guts is coming up. Wait a minute. We just did that. Like it's already happened. The story never finished. Like that's supposed to be the blow off. And
so there's certain things like we're gonna go back at the end of it, and we're gonna be like, okay, that ended well.
Yeah.
But when like people are gonna, again, we get that recency bias where we're gonna see point A, we're gonna see the end point, whatever that is, you want to call it point C, but then point B or whatever's in between is just gonna be fractionally ignored. And that's okay. Like again, we do that with every wrestling company. It's just a really strange dynamic that's been set up in AEW now, where like the long-term storytelling is really, really bungled in the middle.
Yeah, big time. Like it's a shame, because it went from being the program that I was most excited to watch to switching, because like they never, like now it's SmackDown that I'm most interested in, and they're still like doing this sports entertainer versus pro wrestler thing, and it's not even relevant anymore. Like they've held on to this bland storyline beyond its point of relevancy, and they just haven't moved these people into different feuds.
So it's really funny that you mentioned that, because when I do the post Impact show, we were talking about how Honor No More was still kept around as like this, as a Ring of Honor group of people who were just sick of Ring of Honor, so they left. Well, when they left, they had just been released from their contracts. They didn't have Tony Khan as the new owner. Once Tony Khan became the new owner, they didn't pivot. They stayed basically the same, and the story just made no sense. So Honor No More got himself tanked, and it's the same similar like situation here, where the whole like sports entertainers versus pro wrestlers thing comes into play, because Vince McMahon left. The sports entertainment stuff is not completely gone. We still see that, but there's more of a focus on in-ring product. There's more of a focus on telling stories in the ring and making it about how do we get these wrestlers wrestling in a ring, rather than just, food fight in the back. And that's how we establish the problem.
Yeah, like it's literally one promo is all they're doing now to build up most matches. And then if it's not that, it's this protracted, like bungled mess where, they're doing this thing where they don't pivot. Like for a show that is written like what feels like the day of, they are not very nimble, which is strange to me. Like,
so who's going to face Jericho this week?
Another member of the BC, probably Yuta.
So it's really funny that there's this whole thing going around where people are like, "Oh, Jericho said any Ring of Honor world or any Ring of Honor champion and I'm on the AEW website
Oh,
looking at the
sorry, yeah.
results, and it says any former Ring of Honor world champion.
So is it a champion or is it a world champion?
So is it a champion or a world champion? I think most people are expecting it's going to be just anybody. I think it's Christopher Daniels.
Yeah,
I've just been like, we've been waiting for it. They're in Baltimore. They're in like Ring of Honor territory. That's it. And some people are like, nah, it's Matt Taven. And that's fine. I think that's hilarious.
Didn't he just lose his title match though?
Just lost. And you know what? Taven coming
Here's the thing.
hilarious.
I didn't even watch Rampage. I didn't know who won, but I knew who won.
It's Wardlow, of course. By the way, that interview drops next week. Actually, I'll say it later. Yeah, it is what it is. It's just a very strange situation with the world champion thing. Jericho's not. He's what's he gonna like? Everyone else is just like Samoa Joe. If it's just any champion.
I really don't need to see Jericho beating Samoa Joe. That would be sad.
Tim, if it's any champion and the forbidden door is open, Roxy comes through the forbidden door. It's Jericho versus Roxy.
I don't think so.
She's got the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. Everyone's happy. Everyone's excited. The forbidden door is open. Nakamura faces Muta. Jericho faces Roxy. But she's got to come in as Roxanne Perez. And that's just going to throw everybody off.
I think you're right. I think it's Christopher Daniels. I would love to see, and that's a match again, a match with no build that sounds really awesome, and I will probably enjoy in the ring. But there's no good reason for it to be happening.
Yeah, and by the way, like I like Matt Taven. Do not get me wrong. I think he's great. I think he's curly. Yeah, I think he's a very good wrestler. Yes, actually, Jericho did say women's champions, but he did it on like a backstage promo that I don't know. I don't even remember where I saw it, but he said any champion from Ring of Honor, and I just sat there laughing. I'm like, any champion. FTR Swerve in Our Glory. We're doing Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaimed 3.
Okay. It's waffling. It's like I don't know. This worked well. Do this some more is what I feel. Because like I thought that tag team was headed for breakup. Now they're not. They teased it.
I think this is what leads to their breakup. Is
this additional loss, which I think I'm okay with. Like I think I don't mind that.
They can't do this again where they waffle and walk it back, because this has been an AEW problem, in my opinion, lately, where they do a lot of that teasing dissension, teasing a breakup, and then they come back and they're happier than ever. They did it with Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. They did it with Swerve in Our Glory. They did it with what's her face? Or what's his face? Oh my God. Daniel Garcia. They did it with Garcia and Jericho. They've done it with others, but those are like the most recent examples, and they cannot run that again. In my opinion.
I don't need to see that. And like the match will be fun. Hopefully, again, it's not going to live up to the standard of the first match. I don't think, because that's what keeps happening with this stuff. Like they'll do something incredible, then they'll try to recreate it in a second match, and it's never the same. It's still good, but it's not.
Yeah.
You know, you're setting yourself up for failure if you need to top something that was just like a magical moment.
What kind of turned me off from the match was knowing that the Guns were there, and knowing that the Guns are also feuding or trying to set up a feud with FTR for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship.
This is the other thing that I'm finding frustrating is the multiple roles when they have such a deep roster. Like, I don't want to see the Guns twice in two different feuds on the same show. Like, you give people 15-minute segments and your roster is that deep. Use different people. Like the Guns can have they can just be a tag team going after the tag team championship. They don't need to be in the Firm.
You can put them in the Firm, but you just have to figure out what the difference is between them when they show up at the Firm and then them when they're out doing their business. Because that was the Firm's whole like raison d'etre, right? Like, although when Ethan Page showed up, he's like, I want the All Atlantic Championship. And then
it's a lack of long-term planning is all this is. Like they're in the group and they're doing this other feud because you had something cooking and then you added them to something else because you weren't sure if you were going to carry through with that, because they'll just drop it sometimes.
Yeah.
And like,
so, go ahead.
I don't know. Like, I just want that to stop, because it's like, it's making it really difficult for me to get invested, because like there's no reason to be featuring the Gun Club at the end of the show. Like if they've already had a bit, if they've had this feud with FTR for so long.
I will be fine with a lot of these Ring of Honor inspired stories going to Ring of Honor after Final Battle.
Yeah,
once
I need
the TV announcement is made, separate all of this, get it. Just there's a certain amount that I can deal with when it comes to the Ring of Honor stuff, but like we're getting a little too cheeky with it, and it's becoming like Ring of Honor Rampage on some weeks.
Yeah.
I can deal without that. Like at the end of Rampage this week, Powerhouse Hobbs comes out, and he suddenly wants the TNT championship, with is great, but then he has the rest of the embassy come in who are Ring of Honor.
Like, you just left a faction. What?
Well, I don't hate that it's like a tiered faction at that point.
Yeah.
Because if you have, Prince Nana's faction in Ring of Honor running the show, and then you've got Hobbs up there, maybe with other people, there's a certain dynamic that I think could be pulled, and then they cross over once Ring of Honor has their stuff together. But again, this is stuff that needs to be established on TV as moving forward, as something that's going on. And again, like I love Ring of Honor. I do. I really like Ring of Honor, but I need more emphasis on the AEW program on AEW than I do Ring of Honor on an AEW program.
Yeah, like it's just they went again from having like a very small manageable number of titles to just this absolute cluster of just too much going on. Like I don't like everyone having a belt, because they all become meaningless to me at that point. Like I don't care who's strapped up right now. It doesn't matter. Like,
well, let's talk about MJF, because he's looking to get strapped up.
The only strap that matters.
Yes, the only strap that matters is the big strap that's around his neck and made of Burberry. Burberry is a fabric now. That's right. Yeah. So he comes out, and he's got, first of all, Renee Paquette, who 99.9% of people know is Jon Moxley's wife.
Yeah.
She comes out, cuts an interview with Renee, and it's a great interview. One thing I really enjoy about MJF is that he's playing this role like he's having so much fun.
Yes, he does look like he's having a lot of fun. Like he is very invested in what's going on.
Yes, he's invested, and he's straddling a line that I think he's doing quite well. My problem is, I feel like I do this a lot, where it's like, I love this, but what I don't love is how I feel about the way this story is going. Because there's two ways that it can end. There's two ways. One is, oh, son of a bitch, we were right all along, and we all fell for it. Max is the devil. You never trust the devil, but we started trusting the devil, and then the devil screwed us in the end. He used some sort of chicanery, some sort of trickery, and won the AEW World title at Full Gear. Option two, which I'm maybe thinking might happen, is the idea that Regal turns on Blackpool Combat Club and joins MJF. But the problem is, what happens to the firm at that point?
Okay. I'm moderately interested in that only because it gets William Regal with MJF, and that's a 1-2 punch that I think works really, really well.
In certain ways, yes.
Yeah.
And Regal can be like, I always knew you could do it, but you could never do it until you had me in your corner.
Now, and I mean, it's interesting because like normally I'm opposed to people who don't need a manager having a manager, because like some people desperately need a mouthpiece, and MJF is not one of them. But I think that like that promo between the two of them was so good that like I'm intrigued by that. I don't like, once again, and like breaking up a faction when I have not been given like enough storyline to really care. Like when we're talking about factions, like I want like a couple of years worth of like stories and feuds and things to go before the turn, because like you're investing all of this time getting this brand over, getting all these people together over, that like I don't care if people like turn on their friends of 6 months. Like that's not like relationships don't become that tight that quickly. So like I need a couple years. Like I want something like something like Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Like Shawn Michaels disappears forever, comes back, and then Triple H turns on him. I thought like that's compelling to me. Like that's good. If you've been friends and together for 6 months to like a year, it's not long enough. Like it feels very WWE to do that. Like, oh, put the tag team together, like the women's tag division where they do, win the title, like struggle a little bit, lose the title, turn on each other. Like it's too quick. I want it to be longer. If you're going to set up a faction, it should be something that has been given a lot of forethought and long-term planning, rather than just like this thing of convenience. And we just saw the firm disintegrate. Not that we know for sure that it's not going to be restored. I don't know. I don't know that I love this tweener MJF thing. I don't understand why Virginia is chanting him so heavily. Like, I don't get why people are clamoring for a face MJF. I do not understand that. I think that he will make a very bland face, whereas he is a phenomenal heel. Like, I don't think his skills are going to translate to being a good guy.
I don't think he should be a face.
No,
I don't think so at all. In fact, if they do that, I feel like you're going for a crowd that wants to cheer him. You're giving it to him, and then they're gonna have to live with that. And I don't think that after one pass through of the towns, it's not. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's something like, yeah, you can call him an anti-hero, but like,
yeah, which is fine.
But here's the problem with the anti-hero. John Moxley is the anti-hero.
Yeah, well,
he is, for all intents and purposes. Whatever he thinks he is, but he's also portrayed as one. Tony Khan is not an on-air character on AEW television. Again, and I'm going to the Stone Cold.
It's true. Like, you're not fighting the authority. Like, MJF is just doing this weird tweener thing where he's like negging the audience.
Because when he left before Double or Nothing, he was seen as the good guy because he thought he deserved more money, and rightfully so. And it became like
which is such a strange meta narrative.
Yes, it is, but that's the way we went. But now we're back, and he's like, I got a big money deal, and I'm free until 2024. I get it. It should still be a heel MJF for the long term. There's no reason.
Like, I don't think he'll make a good babyface. I think people will get tired of him very quickly.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. Right now he's the devil. That's the whole deal. He is a manipulator. I see it in the comments. The whole idea here is that he is manipulating the audience. He is the cult leader, much like Bray Wyatt is over on SmackDown, and we're going to touch on that too. The idea here is that he is getting the audience behind him because at the end of the day, he's going to let them down by reforming the firm or bringing the firm back. To me, it felt like the Stokely and MJF play out on the stage was MJF like fully winking and nodding without doing that and making it as obvious as he could, being like, don't look at him, don't touch him, or you're fired. Wink, wink, right? I'm looking for Mr. Bribe. Wink, wink. It's a ring.
Which makes sense because, like, why is the firm attacking? Like, do any of your people want the championship? I thought we were going for the All Atlantic. Like, so, like, it does kind of like it, which is a shame because I don't think that that's the right direction to go. Like, if you get MJF strapped up with William Regal behind him, okay, that's a good reset. After the CM Punk fallout, I think we can start to build like more interesting stories slowly from there for the main championship at least. But
yeah, and so I see it in the comments. Fans cheer MJF because he returned after fans weren't sure he was coming back.
That's true. Also, it sucked for TV. Like, that's great. Yeah. It's great if you're in the audience. It's a weird, boring thing if you're watching a fictional TV show with a storyline and the fans are just like ignoring the storyline. Like,
don't ignore us. Wow, I need to eat something. My brain is like mush. I can't even speak today. Don't ignore us and leave a thumbs up here on this video at youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked. Riho, Jamie Hayter had a really good match. I actually thought Riho was going to get the win here because they do this thing where they bring people in for a few weeks and then they give them a title shot. Nope. Looks like we're still continuing the Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, Rebel versus Tony Storm, Saraya, and blank Madison Rain. Who knows who it's going to be? I just threw out Madison Rain because trainer, Rebel, whatever. Good match though. The one thing I feel bad is that like Tony Storm comes out, stands at the top of the ramp. All eyes are still on Britt and Riho, Britt and Saraya.
Oh, I guess. I don't know. I think the fans, and this is, it's again, TK just adjusting on the fly based off of live audience reactions, which again, it's a touring circus. It will be a little bit different every place, but like people are very behind Jamie Hayter, which I'm very behind Jamie Hayter.
I think people are behind Jamie Hayter's behind.
Oh my God. No, she's tremendous wrestler.
She is a great wrestler.
She's Tony Storm, but much more compelling for me.
No comment.
Yeah.
World Championship match, Jon Moxley. But no, okay. So here's the thing: like Jamie Hayter is a fantastic wrestler. I'm not gonna take that
So
away from
good.
her. And listen, like people are. There's nothing wrong in agreeing that like not only is she a great wrestler, she's a beautiful person. There are
Yeah.
just as many people who thirst after the male wrestlers. So like, I'm not going to hide it. There are people who just find her attractive, and that's good enough for them. Sure, like what you like. People like Riho for similar reasons. They find her very attractive, and she's a great wrestler. Fine, that's it. Jon Moxley and Penta El Cerdo Miedo for the AEW World Championship.
Did Renee call him Pentagon Jr. on TV?
She may have.
I think I heard that, and I was like, "What? Oh, okay."
Whatever. Sometimes you let it slip. Because technically, Pentagon Jr. was the one who won at Triple Mania.
Yeah,
not Penta El Cerdo
exactly. So
Miedo.
that might have
Anyway.
it might have been purposeful because of that. Because like I don't know anything about that.
So the setup for the match, for those who didn't see it, oh yeah, she did apparently.
Okay, so but your context makes it make a bit more sense because if they're referencing Triple Mania.
Yeah, it feels like that would make the most sense out of this. And again, so I said this on Twitter. I didn't love how they got about doing this match. They had a whole digital short where Moxley cut a promo, and then Penta walked up and took
was
on
it
the
one of
couch.
the ones where he did the exact same thing that Mox was or MJF was mocking?
Not exactly. So
Quite
Mox
well, that was a good impression.
He did a very good impression of Mox, yes. So Mox was just like, I'll take on anyone. I have zero fear. And of course, that brings in Penta. And that's how they set up the match. And Mox was like, I'll fight anyone. And Penta's like, well, you'll fight me. And that's how they did the match. No rankings needed, nothing. And also, Penta's coming off of a huge win at Triple Mania, where he took the mask of Viano 4. So technically, like, that's a really big deal. The guy's a 57-year-old legend is Viano 4. So they gave him a title match. We all knew what to expect out of the results. That wasn't the problem. The problem was just that it wasn't very well established outside of the social media fans.
No, which I don't follow. Like I watch the TV shows, so like I'm a good barometer for whether or not this information is being communicated on the TV show, and like
yes,
they throw it away in commentary, which is appreciated. Like at least I know kind of what's going on, but like I really just like I don't watch AAA. Like I don't look
most
at the
people
digital
don't.
social media shorts. Like I sometimes I'll see one, but it's not, I don't seek them out. So like you got to fill in the gaps. And I was like, okay, like every match on this Dynamite felt like it came just out of like this really unimportant land, but all of the in-ring itself was tremendous. So it's hard to, it's weird because yeah, like they were so heavy about the ranking stuff when they first started, and that is all gone. Like,
they've basically
gone.
said that the rankings aren't totally dead, but they'll pull them out and dust them off when appropriate, which to me is like
horrible. That sounds like the worst way to use them at all.
Yeah,
like
that's even worse.
It's either all or nothing with that. Like it's yeah.
So when you have AEW, you're right. There are a lot of matches that seem just like thrown on the show. At the same time, they're continuing anything with Jericho has some sort of storyline involved.
Yes,
and
it has. It's just bland.
Yeah, world title stuff has some sort of storyline involved.
Yes.
What else has like the Saraya and Britt stuff has some sort of storyline involved?
Okay, that's being totally fair. These are all like those three have stories.
But then I look at other things and I'm like,
and then you look at the TNT title match and you see how that comes together. Yeah. Where it's two people who have nothing to do with each other talking in the back. Christian and Luchasaurus interrupt because Phoenix mentions the All Atlantic title. Damn it. We've swapped importance with those, by the way, in case you haven't noticed. Like the All Atlantic title was the don't defend it on TV, do this on the Indies title, and now the TNT title is doing whatever.
I think what happened was because Dynamite started on TNT and then they got switched over to TBS, they started realizing shit, we had to put an emphasis on the TNT title on the TNT show, even though the TNT show isn't as popular as the TBS show. So like this Wednesday on Dynamite, they're doing Marina Shafir versus Jade Cargill for the TBS title, where no doubt they'll continue the Nyla Rose story. And like I said last week, I think this is where you're going to have the culmination of Nyla being like, something's going to happen that's going to turn Nyla into a complete beast again.
I hope so. Because, okay, yeah, like when we talk it out like this, it makes it seem, all right, there are some irons in the fire that could materialize into something that's a bit more compelling. It's just,
yeah,
I think there's still like the mess of the Elite and CM Punk stuff left this like utter chaos. And like, again, I think Tony Khan is too, I got to touch everything. like he needs to delegate a bit more because like whatever he seems distracted.
So speaking of which, we saw that Elite promo where they're Thanosing everyone out of
I hated
out of
that
there.
so much.
Why not? Why? What didn't you like about it?
Burn. It was like I don't know. It's not my aesthetic. It's just not my aesthetic.
So
Because I don't
speaking
know
of
what they're
return-
even trying to convey with that. It's like we fought a man. Like, I don't know.
I think
Like
the
I
idea,
don't know the details really. Like what?
I think the idea here is that the Elite in All Elite Wrestling wouldn't be without the Elite.
What I got was we're sorry. Like that's what I got from it. It's like we messed up and we got involved in something we shouldn't have. We sorry.
Well, it's not like they're going to talk about it on TV because even when they,
Not
when they got stripped the title, nobody knew what the hell went on unless you knew the backstage.
Right? Again, like it was just like, nope.
I actually really like this idea from Jorge being like, Nyla Rose needs to defend the title every week to threaten.
That's funny as hell. They should absolutely do that. That would be very, very good.
Just
I would
every week on Dark Elevation, Rampage. Just do it. Doesn't have to.
That's how you do a title steal, right? Like that's how you make that story you've reused 10 times interesting.
You know what's really shitty though? If you make it like the 24/7 title and you have Nyla defend that title in like the parking lot and just be like, I'm 1-0, I'm 2-0, and 3, and like just pads it on the out, rolling up outside. Just
gets up to that
Vicky
level.
Guerrero just keeps pinning Vicky Guerrero, and then they're like, look, I'm undefeated, I'm 120-0, I'm better than you, Jade, and that's how you go.
It's like TK just left a stack of blank contracts on a table somewhere, and Nyla found them, just filling them up like a prescription.
It's just Nyla beating the shit out of Serpentico for 20 minutes straight.
Oh
hey, by the way, my interview with Serpentico finally dropped today, so go over after the show to youtube.com/Fightful. Tim was behind the camera for that. I think you got. Oh no, that was the RJ City interview where he referenced you and said you're a better interviewer than I am.
Yeah, there was that.
Anyway, Rampage, you want to go through it real quick? Serpentico got the shit kicked out of him by Keith Lee. All for the daddy ass segment. Did you see it?
No, I didn't watch the daddy ass segment. I honestly thought that was on Dynamite this week. I don't pay enough attention to Rampage.
Swerve ties up Billy in a chair backstage or somewhere in a dark room, and he takes a pair of pliers to Billy's fingers. Ty Mello beats Madison.
You know what? I like that. See what the. Okay,
they did like horror movie style. By the way,
should watch Rampage.
You don't really need to.
I don't have. It's so busy. There's so much wrestling.
Either way, you know what? All I really care about is, like I've been saying for weeks on end before they even showed up, Matt Taven, the Kingdom's Matt Taven with Maria Kanellis.
Oh my God, the Kingdom and the Embassy are different. Sorry, I just clued in.
The OGK, the OG Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis. Do you know there was a fourth person in the Kingdom? Do you know who that person is?
It's not Brian Cage. He's in the Embassy.
It's not. Someone with long hair who hasn't been around for a while. Plays a lot of video games.
Adam Cole.
Yes, baby. Adam Cole is probably going to join the Kingdom, rejoin the Kingdom, and we're off to the races. Adam Cole, TNT champion. I'm not against it.
I'll be fine with that. So the Kingdom, though Ring of Honor will end up on AEW programming.
As is tradition, yes. This
is like even post TV deal, they're going to be an AEW stable instead of. Okay.
You got it.
Okay.
We didn't talk about SmackDown yet.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about SmackDown.
Let's go to Friday. Let's go to Friday Night SmackDown. Listen, we really just have to talk about that Sami Zayn Bloodline segment.
So good, very
absolutely
fun. Very much enjoyed that.
So let's even take out the whole everybody
breaking.
Literally everybody in that segment broke. Yeah. And it was fantastic. And you've got Roman Reigns like dragging Jay back to the hard cam, being like, nope, we're all in this together, bro. Other than that, let the actual content
was good. Very really good advancement of story. I very much enjoyed this. Make him a full-blown Uso was like, yep, that's where this was going. This is like a very exciting way. You got so much to chant now. Like you created so many like bits in that one segment because you're gonna have Sami Uso, which is hilarious. Like you can lean on that for quite a while. You got the fans chanting Usi forevermore now. That's never going away.
If they do Sami Uso, will he get the tribal tattoo on his arm?
You could do it with makeup, maybe.
Yeah, no, you'd have to do makeup. He
he's
wouldn't
not
do the
gonna-
actual.
That would be insensitive otherwise. And it also just sets up like if The Rock does come in for this at some point, it sets up like, what have you done? Like, you have disgraced the tribe.
So I think it's going to end before Mania.
Yeah.
So they announced this week or last week that Elimination Chamber is going to be in Montreal. Sami Zayn, of course, in Montreal. Kevin Owens, Montreal. I've been saying the Royal Rumble is when Sami versus Roman's going to happen. I still think it's going to be that way. And I just think the Elimination Chamber is going to be, we're going to have like a coming out party for Sami in the chamber.
Yeah.
He's going to lose. He'll lose at the Rumble by nefarious means. He'll get involved in the chamber match for number one contendership and lose at the end.
I would love to
Rock
see
in the chamber.
You know what what's that?
Problem is you can't put Rock in the chamber if they're going to put the titles on the line.
No, yeah.
Or you put Roman in the chamber and Roman loses without losing. But then you got to pin Roman too.
I would love
the chamber.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love if they put two of the Bloodline in the chamber, specifically like throw Roman and maybe Solo in there with Sami and do some stuff with that. I think there's a lot. I mean, it sucks because there's only 6 slots and that eats up 3 for one bit, but I think that would be really, really interesting and a good way to solidify Solo. Because damn, that entrance is fire, and I think he just has a massive ton of potential as a singles competitor. Because I know that's what his ultimate goal is. So,
yeah, there's a lot there, a lot being set up. And again, the Sami stuff, I don't think they're going to turn on them in Canada. I think Sami will have already been turned on. By Christmas time,
exactly. And then you just have Solo beat the piss out of Sami in the chamber or something. Like I think that would be really, really interesting.
Yeah, and again, I think that this is Sami's coming out party, and I do think that this all culminates for Sami and KO winning the tag titles at Mania. That's how I feel, beating the Usos.
Yes.
But I just think that we'll do Sami versus Roman at the Rumble, and I think that will be a fire match. Make Sami look good. Let Sami get a second chance in the Elimination Chamber. However they're going to do it. If they're going to do Rock versus Roman again, doesn't need a title.
No, I think it absolutely needs to like be devoid of titles. Nowhere near it. Like,
yeah. Either way, they made everyone break. I love Paul Heyman's look, by the way, on his face when they finally got to that moment where Jay's like, I don't give a shit about what the tribal chief thinks. Everyone's faces dropped.
That was in the audience.
And
was
you got the
palpable,
audience.
Like
the
so
audience,
good.
I was waiting for a UF'd up chant, and they did not disappoint.
No,
but my favorite was Paul Heyman's face was like he had seen a ghost, and that ghost was about to have sex with his mother. And it was just, he was just in shock and just so scared.
That segment was amazing. Like it was that's pro wrestling done right, baby.
Yeah, there was just so much really good stuff. And again, they salvaged it at the end by having Heyman just treat it like it was a high school tableau. Yeah, and scene. This has been brought to you by Coleman's Wet Wipes. Wipe it down in 3, 2. Yeah. Very silly, but very funny. They did a good job with that.
It felt like Jay was supposed to say some more, but just not happening.
No. Emma came back. Tennille Dashwood from various outside places. How do you feel about Emma coming back? No fanfare, just kind of showed up.
I thought she was good with Caleb with a K, and now I don't care. I don't know who Emma is. Didn't watch during that time. Wasn't a very good comeback. Also, I almost shut the TV off until that happened because Rhonda, I
stop giving her a microphone.
I really don't like Rhonda. Yeah, like there was that brief period of time where like, oh no, okay, maybe she's doing a little bit. No, it's just awful. Just so bad. Backstage
produced content with Rhonda is great. It's useful.
Yeah.
In front of the audience, you know who you give Rhonda? You give her JBL.
Yeah, that would have been fun. That's the perfect pairing. Like that would have been much better. Yeah, what did she even say? I don't even remember.
She didn't. That's really all it was. She says she got mostly cheers. She took the mic, said this belt is back where it belongs. She held the title up above her head, said the crowd is in luck because she's in the mood to prove it with an open challenge. Doesn't expect the crowd to appreciate an active champion, and then doesn't expect that the crowd can recognize greatness. They're all mediocre, and then calls out the locker room. And then out comes Emma.
Which, yeah, who
Hooray.
wrestles and loses. So it's fine.
It's just not great. And like Emma being back is cool. I don't think this is the way to reintroduce her because
you need to introduce her, period, to me. Like,
bro, that's the thing, right?
Like, I know Tennille Dashwood
here.
I do not know Emma. Like,
yeah. And Emma, the character, was fucking awful. Like,
what is the character? The name is Emma. I can infer literally nothing.
She was a bad dancer who would wrestle. It just wasn't great.
Yeah, there's nothing.
And again, Tennille Dashwood was a really solid character. It was,
actually really was. Like, I got behind that. It was interesting. It wasn't like novel. It's not like that's never been done before, but at least it was something. Like,
she's a travel influencer. Like, that is what she does right now. She travels the world.
She goes on vacation for a job. Like,
and you know what? Use that.
Yeah, that is a great way to get someone some heel heat from me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people would enjoy that. Either way, they just kind of did a lot of stuff with Santino Marella before both of them ended up leaving.
That could be fun.
No, there was some good comedy stuff.
Yeah.
That's when Emma was a comedy character. But now, like, people who don't know what Tennille did afterwards don't really understand. Like, it's weird. So anyway, she's back. Hopefully they give her a little bit more than what they did, because match was fine, but it's Ronda, and here we are.
Yeah, exactly. Then the choke out in the back, which, like, okay, cool. We're going to Ronda versus my God, what's her name? Shayna. I don't care about that. I know everyone else seems to, because this is like Four Horsemen MMA stuff from NXT, but I don't care. That sounds like an awful match to me. I don't like Ronda. Like, I know a lot of people like Ronda in the ring. I really don't. I really, really don't. As much as everyone keeps telling me I should. Like, I've never seen a match I've enjoyed with her.
Hold on. There it is.
Ooh.
Emma is a travel agent with male models. She takes over Maximum Male Models, and it's Emma, like Maximum Male Models. And it's
why does she have to take it over?
MMA.
I would like two women to be in a faction together and it not be like a problem. Like, why is that never happening? Like,
that's how you do it.
God.
Emma.
Emma'd.
EMMMA. Maximum Male Model Emma. There we go.
Throw in another M and leave Maxine Dupree in. She's fine.
Oh, so we're now EMMMMA.
MA. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we're okay, got it. So we're like this. Emma. Legado del Fantasma take on Hit Row with Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke's a gun for hire. Sure, why not? One thing I hated about this match,
the balaclavas. Or balaclava.
So you know what? Dollar. It really was all of Top Dollar's presentation, because he
just everything about Top Dollar's look. Like, he dresses okay when he's in the backstage segments, but his in-ring gear is so weird.
Yes,
he looks like he's going to just like he's trying to sweat off the lbs, right? Like he's going to do an hour on the treadmill and then hit the sauna. Like, that's what he looks like when he gets. Bro. Yeah.
So he comes out and he's wearing the balaclava. Sure, that's one thing, but they do this spot where he grabs.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, Santos Escobar, and now it's gone around, and I'm just like, now the bad faith takes are coming. But the point is, like,
but it was bad.
It was bad. He grabs Escobar's hand. He goes for the top rope to do the chop, and he goes up to the top and he poses, and Escobar's just standing there looking up like a chump, waiting for. Yeah, exactly. Like, wait, what are you doing? And then he gets hit with the chop, and I was like, that's fucking awful.
That's very like 80s wrestling type things. The reason I can't watch that stuff, because it was just too like obvious that everyone's in on it.
Yeah, it just was not a good experience watching that match. But either way, it was just I want so much more for both of these teams, and I don't think both of these teams should have faced each other, because you got to build them. Like, Legado has to build.
Again, we thought they were developing something like a triple threat or fatal 4-way tag team type thing, and it just never materialized. And now we've got this 3-on-3 meh.
Yeah. Carrying across Matt Cat Moss was a good time though. Cross Moss, applesauce.
Yeah, very good. I actually thought this was a really great way to build. This is one of the few Saudi builds that is actually working out, even though it's like like a three, like this other match that didn't need to happen. Like they just wanted to throw a cage match. It feels that way. They're just like, we need something in a cage. These two.
It's a big house show, and that's fine.
But this is
cage
being
match.
built in a way that's actually kind of compelling. Like they had the car accident. They kept Drew off TV this week, which is fine. But having Cross choke someone and then talk to his opponent while continuing to choke someone, I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was very good. Like I enjoyed watching that. I thought that was a good presentation of this ruthless Karrion Kross character. Like, because that's what you have to do. He has to be a hitman, as I've said a million times. It's just a shame that he's got this weird witch with him, but that's fine.
That witch is his wife, Tim.
That's his wife, witch.
That's his witch wife.
Witch wife.
Witch woman wife.
Again, and like, if having the witch wife is just in service of this awesome entrance, that's fine. You can be a hitman with a witch wife, which is weird, but it's pro wrestling, and weird is good. So like, I don't mind that, but he has to just be beating people constantly. Like he's got to be choking people. He could still stand to lead, like put that choke in a little tighter. But overall, I thought that this was a much better way to go about building Karrion Kross.
Yeah, this is it. And Moss didn't look bad. The match was longer than
well, and that's the thing. He put him over in the promo. He's like, this guy put up more of a fight than you.
And you did. Yep, that's right.
But, yeah.
Did we give Madcap Moss a new first name?
I think again, Riddick Moss is a strong name. Just go back to that.
Just give him that.
Yeah, as Riddick Moss.
That's it. That's all we need, buddy.
He doesn't need both. No one needs
he needs both.
Let's stop with this both nonsense.
Both of them. Okay, let's wrap up with the Bray Wyatt lore.
Uncle Howdy.
Uncle Howdy. First of all, this is the worst incarnation of Papa Emeritus from Ghost I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Don't know where that came from, but credit where it's due. I love that people are all over this story trying to find the lore and trying to find out who Uncle Howdy is. I'm gonna spoil it for you. It's Bray Wyatt under a mask.
Because he's wearing a mask and he's reveling at who he is.
That
mask is unsettling as hell. Holy hell.
Is. It's very Ghost-like. Those who don't know the band Ghost, let me break it down real quick. The band Ghost, who are very popular now, their frontman, they all wear masks or some kind
so
of,
that their frontman can fire his band at will.
Yes, but that's not the
not
point we're trying to make. Yes, that was one lawsuit ago. Yeah. But anyway, so the frontman also wears a mask, but he wears like a very ornate like face mask, and he can still sing in it, and so
like a papal hat.
Yeah, and a papal hat. So, but one of his incarnations didn't include the hat, and it was a full flesh tone mask, not like a white mask with like face paint and stuff. This is what the Uncle Howdy is it's the flesh tone mask, and you can see the lips are fake in front, and you can see the eyes are cut out. Like it's a proper mask, and it's just Bray. It's just Bray with a contact lens.
I really do think it is just Bray.
Yeah.
Uncle Howdy.
It ain't Taylor Rotunda. It's not one of the Wyndham Six. It is just the story is a man inside himself, a man facing his own demons. Uncle Howdy is his potentially. I think Sean Ross Sapp put this out there. It looks a lot like which Rotunda was it? Oh my God! It looked a lot like one of his family members, who was also a wrestler. Not that it was the same. It was just like it was one of those like looks a lot like him. Just
Jorge's mentioning looks like Willy Wonka stuck in a storage freezer. It's
Jesus
like
Christ.
It's like the bloated corpse of Willy Wonka.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It is unpleasant.
I gotta find it now. Oh, here we go. Barry Windham. So it was, thank you, chat. Barry Windham. Which I think it did look like Barry Windham, and I think that's more of just like a throwback, giving credence to his
ghost
family.
Of his influences preying on his present self.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think there's a lot to the Bray Wyatt stuff, but
it's gonna be
right now it's a slow burn, and also nothing's gonna happen before Saudi. They're just gonna do the waiting around until Saudi's over. But it was a good promo.
It was good. I'm still very interested. Uncle Howdy threw me for a goddamn loop, though. I'll tell you that, because that was.
Was it the drugs?
It's the name Uncle Howdy.
Howdy ho.
Like it's like this weird mutated. He's still got the Firefly Funhouse kind of stuff in there. I never want to see Uncle Howdy wrestle. I'll tell you that much. Never throw him in the ring.
No, God, no.
God damn it! Never let a man wrestle in that mask.
No. Either way, it's there's some good stuff going on, and I'm excited to see where we go from here with the Bray stuff. Again, eventually he's gonna have to wrestle, and that can either be great or it could be not.
Yeah,
we'll find out soon. Let's get out of here, Tim. Let's go enjoy our Sunday. Hey, you want to discuss a new time slot on the air?
We haven't even. What is the new time slot?
No, we haven't established this. Do you want to do this on the air?
That sounds long.
And
everyone
arduous.
pitch your votes right now.
Should we go to 10 a.m. Eastern?
10 a.m. Eastern
on Sundays. Would y'all still watch us? I know it's a little earlier for the Brits. It would be, I guess that's 2 p.m. in the GMT. I feel bad for the West Coasters. They would have to watch us at 7 a.m.
Yeah,
I'm prepared to make that sacrifice.
Yeah, me too.
It's that way we don't cut right into our day, and I can move without, worrying about my child. Maybe we'll do that. Yeah, you guys want to do 10 a.m. on Sundays?
Yep. Oh, look,
all right.
2 yeses. That's all I need.
There we go. 10 a.m. on Sundays. Y'all can find.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You'll wake up to be here. Appreciate you, Mod Mike. We appreciate all of you. Let's get out of here, Tim. Let's tell people where to find them.
Oh, they can find them, being me, at Tim Stone P, TIMBSTONEP, Twitter, Instagram.
Sleep is for the weak, my friends. Come and join us.
Dad.
Starting next Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We will go live with the show and we'll talk wrestling and we'll have fun. Grab a coffee, maybe some breakfast. Maybe we'll have some laughs.
See, now this will force me to watch all the wrestling before the morning of. So
probably a good idea.
It's good. Yeah, it's a necessary kick in the ass.
Go watch the Serpentico interview on the main channel right now. I'm going to go do that myself. Ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, I am Actual Pearl, JOELPEARL. We'll see you in the next one. Tag Talk is tomorrow live at 3 p.m. Eastern, so enjoy. Cheers.